Explain the following. The importance of the Israeli invasion of Sinai in 1956 for increasing tensions, 8 marks. The importance of the UN partition border, 1947, for the movement and resettlement of civilians, 8 marks. This is the mark scheme for this question, which you can find out about in more detail in the overview video. 8 marks here are awarded for AO2, which is your analysis of consequence and significance. So that requires you to take the first element of the question and think about what is important about it in relation to the second element of the question. Making those links between the two different elements of the question is how you are analytical and how you score highly for AO2. 8 marks are also awarded for AO1, which is your knowledge and understanding of the topic. So you need to be bringing in evidence from your own knowledge to support your argument for this question. These are the bands for this question. Again, you can find out about these in more detail in the overview video. But generally, to do well in this question, you need to be analytical. And that really comes down to making clear links between the importance of the first event on the second event, so the two different elements of the question. You should also have a clear line of argument so the examiner can see really clearly what you're trying to get across. Your structure should also be quite easy to follow, so try not to go off on too many tangents. Keep it as relevant and focused as you can. Also on AO1, you should be bringing in relevant details from your own knowledge to support what you're trying to say, so using that evidence from your existing understanding, really just to demonstrate to the examiner that you know what you're talking about. There are lots of points you could have made when answering this question, so as long as what you say is relevant and correct, the examiner will give you the marks. But let's take a look at some examples of points that you could have made. You could, for example, discuss the increasing role of the USSR and the US in the Middle East. This ultimately became a flashpoint in the Cold War and meant that there was much more support coming in for both sides from major world powers. The UN increasingly had to become involved in peacekeeping and policing the Egyptian-Israeli border. So you can see there we've used a lot of evidence from our own knowledge to support our argument here. We've taken both elements of the question, so the Israeli invasion of Sinai and the increasing tensions, and we've explained the link between them, which really is what they're looking for in this question. The same applies for this question. So, for example, you could speak about the displacement of the population as a result of the border and how that led to the UN's creation of the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestine Refugees in the Near East in 1949, with refugee camps for Palestinians on both sides of the Jordan River and in the Gaza Strip. So again, lots of our own knowledge there. We're developing the points by explaining their link back to the question and that idea of importance. And yeah, really just showing that we've got a good understanding of the topic and the links between the UN partition border and the movement and resettlement of civilians. For both questions though, do take a look at the rest of the points to see if there's anything you could have included in your answer.